Many channels have claimed in Wild West videos that the photo in question depicts an old Christmas tradition where women supposedly begged their husbands for forgiveness on their knees. However, this information is incorrect. The image actually shows a scene from the Russian white dance, a Russian tradition from the early 20th century, where women invited men to dance, reversing traditional social roles. There's a similar American dance, the Sadie Hawkins dance, which began in the 1930s and also has no connection to the Wild West or any Christmas tradition. Now let's turn to the Wild West. On April 22, 1889, the vast plains of Oklahoma, previously promised to displaced Native American tribes, witnessed a historic land rush. About 50,000 people lined up in anticipation of claiming a piece of the 2 million acres made available. Under the scorching midday sun, when the signal was fired, the crowd surged into a frenzied race for parcels of up to 160 acres. Before 1889, most of what is now the state of Oklahoma was Native American territory, particularly of the Creek Nation. The U.S. government decided to open these lands for settlement as part of its westward expansion policy. A photograph captures a tense moment in a saloon, likely in Wyoming. The scene shows patrons forcing a man to dance under the threat of guns pointed at his feet. This brutal practice, known as making him dance, exemplifies the harsh and cruel aspects of life on the frontier during that time. This shocking photograph from the 1870s shows an impressive pile of bison skulls. This somber record reflects the period when the U.S. military carried out a campaign to exterminate bison to weaken the Native American tribes of the Great Plains. By eliminating a crucial source of sustenance and unity for these peoples, the military aimed to suppress native resistance. From a population of about 60 million, only 300 bison remained by the end of the century, when efforts began to save the species from extinction. In 1900, Judge Roy Bean's saloon was more than just a place to drink and socialize. It also served as a courtroom where the community gathered to resolve their own disputes, such as the trial of a horse thief, which drew considerable local attention. The saloon was located in Langtry, a small desert town in Texas. Langtry was named after Lily Langtry, an English actress whom Roy Bean admired. Judge Roy Bean was never formally trained as a lawyer or judge, but self-proclaimed himself as a justice of the peace. He sentenced only 2 men to death, one of whom managed to escape before the execution. Bean's life and character have influenced many stories and films. In 1884, in Tombstone, Arizona, this photo captures the execution of John Heath, who was hanged by a mob after his involvement in a botched robbery that ended in a massacre. During this era of the Wild West, the lack of a formal legal system often led to vigilante justice, where suspects of serious crimes were swiftly executed without trial or appeal. Butch Cassidy, born Robert Leroy Parker in 1866, adopted the name Butch from his previous work as a butcher and Cassidy, in honor of a man who helped his family. He became a legendary figure as one of the most notorious outlaws of his time, leading the infamous gang known as the Wild Bunch, or the Hole-in-the-Wall Gang. The gang was known for their bank and train robberies, which defied law enforcement and garnered national attention. Portsmouth Square, in an 1851 photograph. Portsmouth Square is located in the Chinatown district of San Francisco, California, near the intersection of Kearny Street and Sacramento Street. During the California Gold Rush, Portsmouth Square was a bustling hub for miners, traders, and settlers. It was a key gathering place in San Francisco and was historically significant as the site where the American flag was raised over the city in 1846. James Butler Hickok, more famously known as Wild Bill, emerged as a legendary figure of the American Wild West. Renowned as both a soldier and a sheriff, his reputation as a skilled marksman was further fueled by the stories he himself created. Throughout his tumultuous life, Hickok faced numerous duels, leaving a legacy marked by both bravery and controversy. Jesse James, at age 17, left his home state of Missouri to fight as a Confederate guerrilla during the American Civil War. After the conflict, he returned to Missouri and formed one of the most infamous outlaw gangs in history. Although contemporary newspapers romanticized him as a modern-day Robin Hood, there is no evidence that Jesse shared the proceeds from his robberies with anyone beyond his gang. At the dawn of the 20th century, an unnamed cowboy embodied the spirit of the American Wild West. In 1902, captured through the lens of history, he was preparing his lasso, a key tool for driving a herd across the vast Kansas plains. His life was marked by hard work and determination in an era defined by conquest and survival on untamed lands. In this brief moment, we travel back to 1870 to find a young Wyatt Earp at the age of 21 years. Before becoming a legend of the Wild West, he served as a deputy marshal in Tombstone, Arizona, under the command of his brother, Sheriff Virgil Earp. Wyatt Earp is remembered today as one of the central figures in the gunfight at the OK Corral. Despite accusations of executing outlaws who attempted to surrender, Earp was never indicted. Wyatt Earp became involved in various ventures after leaving his position as a lawman, including managing a brothel. In this image from his later years, we see a man whose notoriety was defined by the intensity of his legacy rather than the length of his career. In 1868, in Green River, Wyoming, the construction of the railroad bridge marked a significant milestone in the development of transportation routes. Railroads played a crucial role in facilitating the movement of people and goods. In the photograph, Citadel Rock, a prominent landmark, is visible in the background. Calamity Jane, born Martha Jane Canary, was known for both her generosity and her nearly reckless audacity. She gained prominence in conflicts with Native American tribes and maintained a notable connection with Wild Bill Hickok, with whom she may have had a relationship, though accounts differ. She was a figure of indomitable spirit and a living legend of her time. Joe Black Fox was a Sioux who was part of Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. Like many other Native Americans, he played a key role in depicting authentic scenes of the Wild West, reflecting a time of cultural clashes and transitions. In the mid-19th century, Olive Ann Oatman, a young girl of just 14, was captured in what is now Arizona. During her captivity, she was sold to the Mojave people, who took her in for 5 years. Intriguing is the marking of her face with blue pigment tattoos, a custom of the tribe. Upon her release, Olive returned to American settlements, and her extraordinary survival story was recounted in a highly acclaimed memoir that captured the attention of many at the time. During the period of intense conflict between settlers and Native Americans, the photograph of Jimmy McKinn, an 11-year-old boy who was captured by the Apaches, highlights a significant aspect of the time. After being captured and rescued, Jimmy chose to return to the Apaches, expressing his desire to stay with them. This decision reflected the profound influence of his time with the Native Americans on his perception and identity. Annie Oakley, born Phoebe Ann Moses, first gained prominence at the age of 15 when she defeated an experienced traveling sharpshooter in a shooting competition. With enviable precision, Annie not only won that match but also earned the admiration of audiences throughout the Wild West. With skills that pushed the boundaries, she redefined the concept of a sharpshooter, becoming a true legend in marksmanship. Annie Oakley set several records in shooting competitions, including hitting 100 consecutive targets with a rifle. Her legacy as one of the most skilled sharpshooters of her time endures to this day. Bass Reeves was one of the first and most notable black U.S. Marshals. Born in 1838 in Arkansas, Reeves was a key figure in law enforcement in the region of Oklahoma, then known as Indian Territory. Renowned for his skill in capturing criminals, he was respected for his proficiency and efficiency. Throughout his career, Reeves apprehended and brought to justice thousands of fugitives. Table Bluff Hotel and Saloon in California around 1889. During this period, Wild West saloons were constructed with whatever materials were available, reflecting the ruggedness and improvisation of the frontier. The surrounding unique furniture and the creative bar design capture the essence of an era where every detail told the story of a resilient and adaptable culture. Beyond being a place to drink, it served as a central social hub of the time. In the small town of Gardner, Montana, the Park Saloon was more than just a bar. Managed by Tripp and Malloy, this establishment served as a gathering place where stories and lives intersected. This photograph offers a glimpse into a time when each Wild West saloon had its own character, reflecting a part of the social life on the American frontier. Chief John Smith, known as Kabe Nagui Wens, or Wrinkled Meat, was a member of the Chippewa tribe in Cass Lake, Minnesota. Although his true age remains shrouded in mystery, it is claimed that he was between 132 and 138 years old at the time of his death, though the more realistic estimate suggests he was likely just under 100 years old when he succumbed to pneumonia. The history of the Wild West comes to life when we talk about Dodge City, Kansas. This photograph dates back to 1878. Known as one of the main endpoints for the bustling cattle drives, Dodge City became a melting pot of energetic and armed young cowboys. In this place, the presence of stern authorities was essential to maintain order and peace amidst so many adventurous and challenging spirits. Dodge City, a true icon of the indomitable spirit of the West. The Toll Gate Tavern, located in Black Hawk, Colorado, was a popular gathering spot in the last decade of the 19th century. Immortalized in this 1891 photograph, its wooden walls and rustic atmosphere capture the essence of that time. In an 1865 portrait of the young William Buffalo Bill Cody at the age of 19, we see not just a face, but a glimpse of the American icon he was to become. Cody, who would come to personify the indomitable spirit of the American frontier, already displayed a demeanor that would distinguish him as a showman and popular hero in a nation in formation. When Buffalo Bill died in 1917, his burial in Golden, Colorado, drew a large crowd. People from various regions came to pay tribute to the man considered the greatest showman of the Wild West. His legacy, intertwined with the history and traditions of that era, continues to captivate. The Combination Saloon, located in Salt Lake City, Utah, was a prominent establishment during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Although the original Combination Saloon no longer exists, its legacy is a part of the rich history of Salt Lake City, which was experiencing rapid growth and transformation during this period. Bull Chief, a prominent warrior of the Absaroki tribe, also known as the Crow, played a significant role during the 1870s. Leading expeditions against white settlers, he embodied his people's resistance. However, with the westward expansion of the United States, his life and that of his tribe were drastically altered, eventually leading him to live on a Crow reservation. His transition from a warrior leader to life in a reservation highlights a period of profound conflict and change. Geronimo, an Apache leader, was known for his fierce resistance against both the U.S. and Mexican armies. At the height of his leadership, he fought to protect his people's lands. Despite being captured multiple times, his final surrender in 1886 did not end his influence. As a prisoner of war, Geronimo was used in American propaganda events. He participated in parades and photo sessions, such as the one from 1887 depicted here, to support himself while in confinement. In Tonopah, Nevada, around 1902, the Northern Saloon was a notable establishment, with one of its founders being the legendary Wyatt Earp, the lawman who became an American icon. Wyatt Earp was known for his role as a deputy sheriff and a key figure in the gunfight at the OK Corral. This establishment served as a crucial gathering spot for influential and rugged figures of the time. Tombstone, Arizona. Around 1885, this is the Crystal Palace Saloon. The Crystal Palace was renowned for its luxurious decor, which included ornate fixtures, chandeliers, and a lavish bar. It was considered one of the finest saloons of its time. The Crystal Palace Saloon saw a number of notable figures from the Wild West, including lawmen like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, who were regular patrons in Tombstone. Abe Warner's Cobweb Palace. It was located in the booming town of Leadville, Colorado, which was a prominent mining town in the late 19th century. The saloon was owned by Abe Warner, who was known for his involvement in Leadville's social and business life. The name Cobweb Palace reflected a certain playful or colorful aspect of the establishment. While details about its interior are less documented, saloons of that era often featured opulent decor. The Cobweb Palace was located in various towns of the American West, but one of the most well-known was in Deadwood, South Dakota. Deadwood was a focal point for miners and adventurers during the gold rush. The name Cobweb Palace may have originated from a decor that included fake spider webs, giving an air of mystery and a theatrical touch to the setting. In 1893, the Pinkerton Detective Agency recorded a photograph of Laura Bullion, a member of Butch Cassidy's Wild Bunch gang. In the 1890s, Laura took part in the Great Northern train robbery, which led to her being sentenced to 5 years in prison. After her release, she tried to rebuild her life in Memphis, Tennessee, working as a seamstress and interior decorator but faced financial difficulties. Laura Bullion passed away in 1961 in poverty. At the turn of the 20th century in Plainfield, Illinois, a photograph was taken at a storied location, John Powell's Saloon. The scene shows several men and a dog named Peggy, captured in a casual moment. In Montana, saloons served as essential social hubs for pioneers of the Old West, used for exchanging information and conducting business. The photograph highlights these rustic establishments and their significant roles in the community. In 1881, a prospector was photographed in the arid lands of California, reflecting the ongoing search for fortune. After discovering silver veins in the mountains, he helped establish the town of Calico, which thrived in the 1880s. However, with the depletion of silver reserves and the passage of the Silver Purchase Act, Calico was abandoned in 1907 and now stands as a ghost town. The controversial figure of Belle Starr rose to prominence in 1886 when she was captured by U.S. Deputy Marshal Charles Barnhill. Known as the Queen of the Bandits, Belle Starr was born in 1848 in Carthage, Missouri. She became involved in criminal activities and associated with outlaw gangs, including that of her husband, Sam Starr. After Sam's death, she married a second husband, Jim Reed, who was also an outlaw. She was arrested several times, but always managed to escape harsher penalties. She was murdered in 1889, possibly as an act of revenge or as a result of her criminal activities. She was found dead at her home in Younger's Bend, Oklahoma. Iron White Man, a member of the Sioux tribe, was one of the performers in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, a spectacle that both showcased and exploited Native American culture. Through his appearance and attire, Iron White Man reflects the story of a people striving for survival and recognition amidst the expansion of the American frontier. Imagine being transported to the late 19th century, standing in the Saloon Mueller in Ripon, Wisconsin. Over time, the Saloon Mueller, like many other saloons of the era, evolved in its function. The city of Ripon underwent various transformations, and the saloon may have served different purposes throughout the years. This photograph from around 1851 shows an unidentified gold miner in California. The gold rush was a period of significant migration and exploration that began with the discovery of gold in 1848 in California. This event attracted hundreds of thousands of people seeking wealth, leading to rapid population growth and the development of new cities and infrastructure in the American West. In the photo, we see a typical Wild West saloon from around 1915. Although the exact location is unknown, it serves as a typical gathering spot, featuring a pool table and card tables where patrons could enjoy games and socializing. Notably, the walls display a poster of Buffalo Bill, a prominent cultural icon of the time. In this photograph, we see a group of men posing in front of the Table Rock Saloon around 1890. Located in Table Rock, Nebraska, this establishment was typical of the Wild West era. By 1890, the region was undergoing significant changes due to railroad expansion and population growth. Up Saloon in Murray, Utah in 1906. Murray was a growing community at the time, benefiting from the construction of railroads and the expansion of mining in the region. The name UP refers to the Union Pacific Railroad. In Castle Dale, Utah, a photograph of a saloon captures a customer posing next to a horse. Saloons were vital social and commercial hubs in the Wild West, offering drinks, food, and serving as meeting places for residents and travelers alike. This image depicts a typical scene of life on the American frontier in the 19th century. The photograph of Whirling Horse depicts a member of the Sioux tribe and a participant in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. Whirling Horse was a respected chief among the Sioux and played a significant role in resisting American expansion. He was actively involved during the Plains Wars, particularly in the conflicts against the encroachment of settlers and U.S. troops. Amid the frenzied Klondike Gold Rush from 1896 to 1899, Clancy's Saloon in Skagway, Alaska, became a lively gathering spot. In 1897, as around 100,000 prospectors flocked to the region, this establishment provided a place for socializing and rest. Skagway was a crucial point for prospectors heading inland in search of gold. The town of Tombstone, Arizona, takes us back to 1882 in this photograph, showing a stagecoach parked on the dusty streets of what was once a bustling meeting place. Founded by prospectors in 1879, Tombstone became famous not only for its gold rush, but also for the dramatic confrontations between lawmen and outlaws, including the famous gunfight at the OK Corral. Several historic buildings still stand and are open for visitation, including the Crystal Palace Saloon, the Birdcage Theater, and the OK Corral. The Long Branch Saloon was a famous saloon located in Dodge City, Kansas, and is one of the most iconic saloons where many of the notorious figures of the time, such as Wyatt Earp and Bat Masterson, would gather. The Long Branch Saloon was established in 1874 and was operated by John H. Doc Holliday, who was also known as a famous gunslinger and gambler. The Klondike Dance Hall and Saloon was a popular establishment in Skagway, Alaska, during the Klondike Gold Rush era. The saloon was in operation in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The Circle City Saloon, located in Circle City, Alaska, was a notable establishment during the Klondike Gold Rush. It was one of several buildings constructed to accommodate the large population of prospectors who settled in the area after 1893. It became a popular gathering spot for those passing through the region. The Equity Bar in Old Tascosa, Texas, was a notable saloon in the 1880s. Located in a town known for its criminal activity and rough environment, the Equity Bar was a popular gathering spot. Whirling Hawk, a member of the Sioux tribe, stood out as one of the many Native Americans who participated in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. The influence of Whirling Hawk and other Native Americans in the Wild West show contributed to shaping the popular image of the Wild West and indigenous cultures in the media and popular culture, a legacy that is still debated and studied today. Although the show helped increase the visibility of indigenous cultures, it also promoted a romanticized and often inaccurate view. In this 1898 photograph, we see Goldie Williams posing with a defiant expression after being arrested for vagrancy in Omaha, Nebraska. Goldie Williams worked in various saloons and brothels in the Wild West, gaining a reputation for her entertainment skills. She was known for her dance performances and acts that attracted the attention of patrons. In Colorado's San Juan County, the photo depicts a miners' camp nestled beside a mountain. The image highlights the extreme conditions faced by miners in the Wild West as they searched for valuable minerals. In the Wild West, prostitution was a common practice, reflecting a widely shared reality across various regions of the time. On the frontier, the relative freedom allowed some women working as prostitutes to become owners of their own brothels, a situation less common in other areas. This phenomenon highlights the autonomy that some women were able to achieve in this specific context. Billy the Kid, born Henry McCarty, was also known as William H. Bonney. Famous for his criminal life and his skill with firearms, Billy the Kid was born in 1859 and became a legend due to his robberies and escapes from the law. He gained notoriety during the Lincoln County War in New Mexico, a series of violent conflicts between rival factions and local authorities. He was captured and escaped from jail several times before being finally killed by Sheriff Pat Garrett in 1881 at the age of 21. In this 1904 photograph captured by Edward Curtis, a Navajo man is shown in a traditional ceremony. He is wearing ceremonial garments, an expressive mask, and symbolic body paint, providing a glimpse into the cultural practices of the Navajos at the turn of the 20th century. The image documents the importance of these traditions in preserving identity and cultural resilience. In the image, trappers and hunters in Browns Basin, Arizona, prepare for a day of work near the Four Peaks Mountains. These professionals played a significant role in the exploration and settlement of the region. The Shamrock Saloon operated during a time when Hazen, Nevada, was a small community in the middle of the desert. Founded in 1871, Hazen emerged as an important stopping point for travelers and miners heading to the nearby silver and gold mining fields. During the expansion into the Wild West, Chinese laborers played a crucial role in building American railroads. Initially hired for basic manual tasks, they quickly distinguished themselves in more complex roles such as track layers, stonemasons, and supervisors. Despite their significant contributions, they faced intense anti-immigrant backlash, reflecting the prevalent tensions and prejudice of the time. At the height of the 19th century, Fort Worth, Texas, was home to over 60 saloons, reflecting the vibrant social life of the era. Among them was the White Elephant Saloon, a notable establishment that, despite changes and challenges over the years, continues to operate, though in a new building. This saloon is an example of how some of the old Wild West gathering spots preserve the memory and history of an era marked by cattle trading, westward expansion, and the social interactions typical of the time. Located in Zortman, Montana, the Dewar Saloon, around 1905, served as an important center for socialization and business. Situated in a gold mining area, the saloon played a crucial role in the social life of the local residents, providing a space for interactions and commercial transactions. Zortman, a community that emerged during the gold rush, faced significant challenges during the westward expansion. In 1908, an old photograph captures the Cowboy Bar, located in Jackson, Wyoming. In the early 20th century, this town was a crucial gathering point for cowboys, miners, and adventurers. The original bar featured typical saloon decor of the time, with a rustic interior, wooden bars, and traditional-style stools. Over the years, the Cowboy Bar became a cultural icon, frequently visited by tourists eager to experience a piece of history and atmosphere. In 1903, in Bisbee, Arizona, the Orient Saloon was a central spot for the game of faro, which was very popular at the time. This saloon, located on one of Bisbee's main streets, served as an important gathering place for miners and merchants during the height of the town's mining boom. Bisbee, founded as a copper mining town, attracted many workers and entrepreneurs, increasing the demand for entertainment and gambling. Faro was a card game where players bet on which cards would be drawn, with a simple structure that allowed for quick turnover of bets and outcomes. In 1903, a photograph of a black sheriff mounted on his horse in Pocatello, Idaho, offers a rare glimpse into an important part of Wild West history. After the American Civil War, many African Americans, seeking better opportunities in a time of racial discrimination, turned to the profession of cowboy, which offered more dignity compared to other occupations available at the time. In this photograph, dated between 1890 and 1900, we see the interior of a saloon in Pierre, South Dakota. The detailed setting reflects a typical social gathering space of the Wild West, where ranchers, outlaws, and pioneers would come together. After the American Civil War, many formerly enslaved people migrated to the West in search of new opportunities and a less discriminatory environment than in the eastern United States. In this new region, they faced significant challenges, but also made important contributions to the development of the American frontier, helping to shape a new society with more opportunities for building a fairer life. In this classic Wild West scene, wagons are lined up along the dusty street, with establishments like the Yellowstone Bar and the Butler Saloon visible in the background. This image captures the rugged and adventurous essence of a time marked by exploration and challenge. This photograph, dated from the late 1800s, shows a saloon in Wyoming. At the time, Wyoming was a developing territory, with the local economy heavily tied to mining and ranching. At the end of the 19th century, families transported their lives in covered wagons, facing the challenges of the frontier. More than just a mode of transportation, these wagons were small, mobile communities carrying hopes and dreams of a new beginning. Chinese immigrants played a crucial role in the expansion of the American West during the 19th century. Many came to the United States seeking opportunities, particularly during the gold rush and the construction of the transcontinental railroads. In an image of a Wild West saloon, a group of men is shown in front of the camera. The exact date and location are unknown. They are likely taking a break, possibly celebrating achievements or simply enjoying each other's company. In 1897, James Collins, a 23-year-old tailor, was photographed after being arrested for theft in Omaha, Nebraska. The image captures a significant moment of the era, when laws and order were in the process of being consolidated. In this Wild West image, dated around 1890, we see the interior of a saloon, with spittoons on the floor used by patrons who often chewed tobacco. Against the arid backdrop of Texas, a group of men gathers outside the Sweetwater Saloon. The wanted poster for Bill Doolin, dated from the late 19th century, reflects the intense manhunt for this notorious outlaw. Doolin, a prominent figure in the Doolin-Dalton gang, was known for his involvement in numerous bank robberies and train holdups across the American West. His criminal activities made him a significant target for law enforcement, leading to a substantial reward for his capture. This poster is a testament to the relentless efforts of authorities to apprehend one of the most wanted outlaws of the time. Bill Tilghman, a renowned lawman and deputy U.S. Marshal, is best remembered for his role in capturing Bill Doolin. Known for his exceptional skills and bravery, Tilghman was a prominent figure in the law enforcement community of the Wild West. On January 15, 1896, he apprehended Doolin at a bathhouse in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Tilghman's capture of Doolin marked a high point in his career, demonstrating his effectiveness in combating outlaw activity in the region. The photo of Bill Doolin after being shot vividly captures the end of his criminal career. Following his capture by Bill Tilghman, Doolin was held in prison in Guthrie, Oklahoma. However, he managed to escape, only to be gunned down on August 24, 1896, in a gunfight led by U.S. Deputy Marshal Heck Thomas. This image serves as a grim reminder of the violent and often brutal nature of law enforcement and outlaw life in the Wild West.